You guys can hear me? Alright, good. I don't know what happened with the audio last time. I think I got a call, and then because I got a call, the audio just cut out. So yeah, Youngboy's not out right now. What's going to happen is they're going to take him back to the correction center where he was being held. They're going to basically probably a day, maybe tonight, but probably more likely tomorrow, they'll release him. And then once they release him, he's got to go to like pre-trial. So he'll go to pre-trial in Baton Rouge, and then he's off to Utah. And then that's it. He'll be there for the duration of the trial. But so I wanted to go on live, tell you guys a little bit about what court was like today. Yaya Mayweather was in there. She was there. All the Youngboy's family was there. Drew Finling, an absolutely phenomenal attorney who handled the bail hearing, he was there. Drew came by and said what up to me. Apparently Drew Finling knows who I am. I don't know how Drew Finling knows who I am. His son showed him my stuff. He said he watches my videos. He likes them. He thinks it's cool. Nah, y'all can hear me, right? You guys can hear me or no? So I want to go on live to tell you guys about what I saw today in court. Amongst what I saw, the craziest thing that I've ever seen from a government attorney. And I thought this government attorney really embarrassed himself. I thought this government attorney really told you a lot about how the government looks at this case and how the government is treating NBA Youngboy. The government's attorney, his behavior was, and not all of the U.S. attorneys, there were multiple government attorneys there, and pretty much everyone except for one was valid, exceptionally valid, really great attorneys, doing great work, acting very professional, exactly what you would expect from a U.S. attorney. However, one of those U.S. attorneys was so out of pocket in court today, just being very, very sort of biased and really kind of harassing the defense, that the judge did something that I haven't seen in a long time. She admonished him on the record. She basically on the record called out his behavior and said that this is, you're breaking the rules of the court and you're embarrassing yourself as a professional the way you're acting. And that a judge does not do that often. It is very rare that you're going to see a judge do that to a U.S. attorney, and you're almost never going to see a judge do that to a U.S. attorney in a high-profile case in open court. That was crazy. So let me tell you a little bit about what this attorney did that was so out of pocket. The judge's name is Shelley Dick. She's the Chief Judge of Middle District of Louisiana. She's a fantastic judge. An absolutely fantastic judge. She ran that courtroom like a pro, and she knows the law, and she was thoughtful. The complete opposite of this U.S. attorney that we're talking about. So this U.S. attorney, he was questioning one of the members of the family in Utah that NBA Youngboy wanted to stay with. And so he was questioning her about financial payments. And there was this issue of close to $600,000 had been transferred from Youngboy to this family in Utah, and this U.S. attorney was questioning her, and he wanted to show that, this isn't some support system, this isn't some family that he can rely on and that have taken care of him and nurtured him and kept him out of trouble. This is just somebody that he's paying to come in here and lie to you and pretend like they're really just in it for the money. Okay, so that's what he goes in doing. What he proceeded to do was embarrass himself, embarrass the U.S. Attorney's Office, and just really make a mockery of the proceedings. At multiple times, he said stuff that was just like, it was crazy, all right? So one of the first things he said that was nuts. The judge tried to have him walk it back and make it seem like it was okay that he said it, but it wasn't okay that he said it. It really spoke to how biased he was. I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, but he seemed like one very biased individual to be saying the stuff that he was saying. So the conversation is unfolding, the questioning is unfolding, and they ask, why did Youngboy transfer $35,000 to you? And the woman says, well, he has affairs in Utah, and I help him with that. I'm, helping him get a place out here. He's got kids. His kids stay out here. I'll buy stuff for his kids, take them out to movies, whatever it is. I pay for it, and then he reimburses me. So it comes into this account, and then I reimburse myself. And this U.S. attorney goes, so basically you're testifying that he was cleaning the money for it. No, like washing money for you. And she had said the word clean. She had said that this was a cleaner way to do it, right? If I'm laying out expenses and then you reimburse me, a cleaner way to do that is that we open up a separate account and you put all the reimbursement money into that separate account and I reimburse myself from that separate account. So she says this was a cleaner way to do it. And the U.S. attorney goes, oh, so you admit that you were cleaning money for him. And the whole court stops. The defense objects. They're like, yo, objection. Nobody said nothing about cleaning money with it. And the judge is like, oh, I don't think that's what he meant. And, it's hella awkward. All right, so that happened. That's one strike. We go on in the hearing, and now there's some more testimony coming out. And this time, the U.S. attorney gets a horrible answer to his question. He asks, why was $500,000 transferred to you? What are you going to do? You're reimbursing yourself with $500,000. So she goes, oh, well, the $500,000, it wasn't even, it didn't even stay with me. I literally had it for like 2 seconds. It came to my account and I forwarded all of it to another lawyer office in California because they were going to use it to post his bond when he got the initial bond in California. That's what the $500,000 was. So this man must have been feeling, all kinds of stupid. he's trying to say like, oh, you got this $500,000, and really she just helped him move it from one account to his lawyer's account so they could post it for bail. There was nothing even remotely suspicious about the $500,000 transfer. So now this man starts grabbing at straws, and he's like, isn't it true that you're an employee of NBA Youngboy? She's like, no, I just, I'm a friend, I help out with his affairs, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, isn't it true that you appear in Instagram videos with him with short shorts on and you're bent over? The whole court is just like, wait, what? What did he just say? And it really did not, nobody could understand, why would you, first off, what does that have to do with anything if she did? If she did, do you even know that? It was wild. And the defense is like, objection. And at that point, Drew Finling, he was like, yo, we need to just stop everything right here. You need to let this witness go. She's being harassed. This guy is wild. He's out of pocket. What is going on right here? And the judge is like, this is starting to get a little out of control. So then at the end of it, this man, he gets another question. And the judge is really frustrated. She just wants this thing to end. She's like, this has to stop. And there's been so many objections and back and forth. So at the end, he makes another statement, it's his last question. His last question isn't even a question. He gets a question, and instead of asking a question, he starts lobbing accusations. And he's like, oh, you're just taking money and reimbursing yourself and doing whatever you want. And everybody's just looking at him like, what does this have to do with anything? What are you even saying? That's not even a question. At that point, the defense is like, yo, this has to stop. They move to strike. Delete from the record what the guy just said. Judge is like, motion granted. And finally, it ends. And I share this story to sort of inform everybody that happened today. That a U.S. attorney in open court asked a series of questions that left everybody in the court scratching their head. That why would he ask that? Why is he acting like that? Where is this coming from? What is this about? And I don't have the answer to that question. Maybe he was having a rough day. Maybe he's not good at his job. I don't have the answer to that question. But one thing that you have to ask yourself is, what is this about? What could it be about? And one place to go with it absolutely is bias. That the U.S. attorney is not looking at the evidence. The U.S. attorney is not looking at the facts. The U.S. attorney is not looking at the law. The U.S. attorney is simply looking at a defendant, a situation, and that one attorney, for sure, I think is fair to say this about, and he feels some type of way about it. And he's going to do anything he can to get his way and prove, that in his head, he's on the side of right and the defense is on the side of the wrong. And that's crazy, man. I was really embarrassed as an American citizen, as an officer of the court, that U.S. attorney acted that way. I'm glad that the judge saw it and she admonished him. Frankly, NBA Youngboy is probably happy that guy acted the way he did, because after he showed out like that, there's no way the judge wasn't going to give him a bond. I mean, that U.S. attorney really dropped the ball, really fumbled it, really embarrassed it. How did YB look like? YB looked, he's standing tall. Let's go live with some people, see what your questions are. All right, who should we bring in here? Who we bringing in? Somebody? I guess there's too many requests. I can't even see them. All right, let's bring Nessie in. I don't know if the two-person is gonna work because my signal's really low. Oh shit! Here we go. What's up, Nessie?
Oh hey! Oh my God!
What's going on? Are you as disgusted as I am with the conduct of that U.S. attorney? That's not gonna work. Was he Youngboy was excited. It was dope. So what happened was the judge is like, at the end of the hearing, the judge is like, all right, I'm gonna step outside. I'm gonna take a recess for 15 minutes, and when I come back, I'm gonna issue a decision on the bond. And so everybody was in court waiting. I would have bet anything. I told Drew Finling, I was like, Drew, I'll bet you anything he's gonna get this bond, because the way I was looking at it, I was like, she's definitely gonna give him the bond. I'll bet anything. He's like, oh, I don't know. So then she comes back in, and when she comes back in, she starts reading her decision. And so she goes over what happened, what's happened since he got arrested, so on and so forth. And then she goes into what happened at the hearing, and she announces her decision. She says, I'm going to grant a bond with these conditions. And she starts listing all the conditions. And then Drew Finling is, he puts his arms on the table. He's sitting right across from NBA Youngboy. And Youngboy's kind of looking around like, oh shit, this is crazy. I'm getting a bond. And Drew Finling is just arms on the table, and he's just looking right at NBA, waiting for him to catch his gaze. And he's got a big smile on his face because he knows what he did. He knows that he delivered this dude a bond. And so he's just looking at him. And then Youngboy sees him, looking right back at him. And Youngboy's like, puts his hand, he's had handcuffs on him. He picks up his hands. He gives him a little dap across the table. He's like, yo, you did it, Drew. You got me out on the bond. It was dope. I'm sure he's very excited. His whole family was there. He deserves to be out. He deserves to be out. Absolutely. This is a status offense. It's not a violent crime. They're saying that he held a gun he touched a gun in a music video on or in front of his grandfather's house. That's his crime. Touching a gun in a music video on or in front of your grandfather's house for a couple seconds. And so he's done close to 200 days in prison for that. And they want to not only keep him in prison longer, they want to send him away for 5-6 years. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, he deserves to be out. And him and his family should be very happy about it. He's still got the dreads. He's got the sort of bowl dread, like twist dreads. I don't know, but he got all his hair. He looks like he's getting getting regular cuts because it was tight. Everybody wants to know how his hair looked. Can we get some questions other than his hair. So they had him masked up. It was intense. The first 2 days, they had two masks. They had a regular mask, and they had the N95 on top of it. Looked like they had a muzzle on the guy. It was kind of ridiculous. Today, they took off the N95, so he just had one mask. I don't know if that has to do with, like, COVID testing or what. But when he had the double masks on, I mean, they have him shackled at the hands. Then they got the double mask. It's too much. He's not a violent criminal. I don't know if his kid's going to stay with him. I'm guessing he is going to have to tell pretrial, who his immediate family is that he lives with in his residence. So he probably has the right to say, these are my kids, this is my partner or my wife or whatever he wants to say, and keep a certain number of people in his family, in his residence like that. But I don't think he can have, like, everybody. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what happens. He has definitely not gained weight. There was a jail fight. The jail fight issue came up. That's a good question. There was a jail fight, and the judge, she said, look, I watched the video for the jail fight. I don't think it's that serious. I don't think it has anything to do with his bond. So that could mean two things. One, either the jail fight was just a very minor scuffle, nothing too crazy, or two, it was self-defense. And so if the judge is looking at the video and she sees that it's self-defense, or she sees that it's very minor, she's like, whatever, it's all good. I'm not having an issue with this. Is he allowed access to his bank? He's allowed access to all his money. I mean, he's going to have to put up a bond. But other than his bond, his money is his money. Yeah, I know some of the families say he ain't coming out. When you're in court, it goes back and forth. And so I think somebody posted earlier today that, it's not looking good, or he's not getting out. And that was just kind of before it was all said and done. And there were moments in the hearing today when you might look at it and go, oh, man, he's not going to get out. But at the end of it, he's out. He's getting out. The bond is $1.5 million with collateral, so it's like $1.5 million worth of property that you pledge, or $500,000 cash. Who won the fight? That's a good question. We don't know. You got to ask the judge. The judge saw the video. I don't know who won that fight. My best guess is the fight was self-defense, or it was a very small fight. That's why the judge said this ain't no big deal. I'm also assuming the judge understands that fights happen in prison. It doesn't make someone ineligible for a bond. We had some good questions. Let's get some more good questions. Yeah, the judge is definitely going to get on here. Although, when I did the 6-9 case, that one judge, Judge Engelmeyer, he confirmed that he was watching Instagram. And he had seen the memes, and he was all over. He had followed along and seen it. That he did say that. Yeah, I don't know why it's not recorded. $500,000 cash, DJ Vaughn. It's $500,000 cash or $1.5 million worth of houses. You could do either. You could put up $1.5 million of your property, or you could show up with you have the deeds and an appraisal. You say, I own, Boardwalk. Boardwalk got appraised last week for $2 million. I pledge this house. If I don't show up to court, you could keep this deed. So you could do that, or you could come up with $500,000 cash, leave the $500,000 cash, and they'll let you go. Either one, deeds or cash. When will trial start? That's a good question. I mean, I haven't met Youngboy. I feel like I met everybody around Youngboy. I would never address him directly in court because he's the defendant, and because it's up to him. If he wanted to say something to me, I would definitely love to talk to him, but I wouldn't go and come up to him. That's an invasion of privacy. The court is an open court. It's a public proceeding. People are going to report on what's going on. But when you're in court, that doesn't necessarily then give people the ability to come up to you and just start throwing questions at you. That's just not what I'm trying to do. So about the trial. So we don't know when the trial will be. What's going to happen from here, the next steps in this case, in the middle of November, probably like November 15, somewhere around there, both sides, the government and the defense, will submit briefs. A brief is a written argument. So they're going to write down all their arguments, and they're going to cover what happened at the hearing, and they're going to say so-and-so testified this, and so-and-so testified that, and so for all these reasons you should grant our motion, or for all these reasons you should deny the motion. So those briefs will get submitted sometime in the middle of November, and then the judge will decide when she decides. She might decide very quickly. She might decide, boom, right then and there. She might decide in December. She might decide in January. But at that point, we're going to know a lot more. once she decides, a couple of things can happen. One, she might rule in favor of Youngboy, throw out all the evidence against him, and Youngboy walks. Two, she might throw out some of the evidence against him while letting some of the other evidence stay in. And if that happens, that could open the door to some sort of settlement, some sort of plea bargain where the government says, all right, just plead guilty. We'll give you time served, or we'll give you, a small sentence. And they might take it at that point if it's, better. I'm sure they've made offers right now. I don't know what they are. Some offer would have been made, and they've obviously rejected it. But if the dynamics change, if some of the evidence gets thrown out, the offer might get better, and then the defense might take it. What other questions do you guys have? I don't know what time exactly he would get released or when. He has to be in Utah because the judge thinks that if he was in Baton Rouge, that he would continue to sort of get in trouble and sort of invite and be involved in criminal activity. She just thinks that he's had too many problems in Baton Rouge and that he can't be out there on bond.